Everybody, out here on the farm, it is in the 50s. Snow is pretty much all gone from yesterday. We had probably 3 or 4 inches on the ground, and that's basically gone. Got pretty stiff wind today, 30, 40 mile an hour wind gusts, probably sustained 15, 20 mile an hour winds. So things are drying up really quick, which is good because tomorrow I'm planning to plant. And looking over here at my plants, so the plan is to basically get the cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, all those various plants into the garden outside and get them started. I'll be putting my, I use pots around all the plants to keep the wind off of them because the wind is so bad this time of year out here. The other thing I'm doing is I'm gonna retrofit, or not retrofit, but basically restore this wheel hole that I have. And I'm gonna set it up to use my midget seeder that I have right here. So I'm working on this wheel hole today, and basically taking this thing apart. I'm gonna restore it, I'm gonna repaint the wheels, get rid of the rust, and then set it up so that I can use my midget planter, which is this unit right here. This is a midget. And it's really pretty cool. This opens up the soil, this covers it back up, and then the seeds drop down as it spins. And then you can adjust on the top here the different seed sizes. So it goes all the way from onion seeds really small, all the way up to beans and a little bit larger than beans. So it's really cool. This is something I picked up several years ago now, and I use it mostly for carrots and for radishes, small seeds, and it works really well. So this is pretty cool. Let me get this apart and start cleaning it up. Handles. And these handles are in really great shape actually. They just need to be resealed. They looks like they were painted red obviously. I'm not going to paint them though. I'm going to sand them and then just reseal them clear. That would be nice. It's the main unit. Not much to this thing, but basically this wheel will come off. So I'm going to pound this back in, but I think what I want to do actually is get it out of here, push it out, and then re-grease it. I'm going to have to file down a little bit of my burr here that I made with the channel locks and the vice grips when I had to hold it to get that nut off the second side. It's a good straight wheel. It's not warped or anything and bent, so it's in great shape. Just sand it up. I usually paint all my wheels black. I'll probably paint this one black too. So it should be good. Nice. That's that part. And then here's the business end of the machine, so to speak. You can see here they have a cultivator, single blade. I'm going to take this off. Now, actually more like a row, something to put a row down. Let's say you're going to plant potatoes, you could use it for that. And these little machines were great improvements over walking by hand with just a hoe or something. I mean, they really sped up the process for people that were doing gardening and even market gardening. Here's the element. And then you can see, so here's the mounting unit, basically. And if you take the midget, this would be the midget here. The midget just goes on there. That's the way, the proper way. And that's the midget mount. Just goes on there, just tightens up, and then that'll plant. That's how that works. It's a pretty cool little arrangement. What's kind of neat about this planter or this adjustment, this is supposed to adjust. So it's a thumb wheel or kind of just a cam. Well, it's got a bolt and nut on it. And so I'm going to clean that up so that works properly, because you should be able to loosen that and then slide the handles up or down to give you kind of like a height adjustment on the handles. So that'll be pretty swift to do that. But it's kind of cool, so that's going to work out really good. So this piece of steel, this is a support bracket for the handles, and this was a little bit bent. So what I did was, I've got these great pieces of steel. Actually came from a grandfather of mine. He always used them on his bench for doing different things like this. So basically I laid this on here, took my hammer, and got it nice and flat, gave it a few whacks. It's, 5 pound. And just whacked it out. A little bit of a bend in it. And now it's pretty much straightened out. You look down the line here. It's pretty good, and definitely good enough for restoring this. I've wire wheeled the metal, and now I'm going to do like a wet sanding to just kind of try to take as much of the pitting out. They're really pitted bad, but it doesn't matter. It's still really strong steel, and putting it back together and painting it, it'll last another 50, 75 years easy. And handles are in great shape. They're nice and solid. And then the cool thing is, kind of discovered here the brand. So you can see right in here there's a diamond with a DE with an arrow. That must have been the manufacturer. That's either one of two things: manufacturer of the wheel hoe or manufacturer of the handles. I have a feeling it's probably the wheel hoe, but pretty good shape, so it's kind of nice detail. I'm just gonna clear these with some varathane, seal them up. I might use linseed oil on them first and then varathane them. I've done that before. It adds a nice color to them, and it'll make a great handle. So that's what I'm working on now. It's basically taking all the metal, taking everything completely apart, and now I'm just going to go through and wet sand everything and get it ready for painting. And the other thing I did was restore this wheel hoe, so it's all set up. Pulled it all apart, repainted, refinished the handles, cleaned up the rust, and then just repainted everything. Turned out pretty good. I like the colors, the green and the red kind of pop against each other. And so that's the other thing I did this weekend. Now I have different attachments that'll go on here. I was hoping that my midget would go on here, but it won't. And that's my little planter. It's too close to the wheel, so there's just not enough room on this hoe. But anyways, it's pretty cool. Another little thing done, and something I wanted to do during the winter, but hey, I kind of squeezed it in here between planting. So it's kind of cool. Hey everybody, it's April 19th, sun's heading down, and we got all our broccoli in, and cauliflower, cabbage, so that's all in. I use these pots to kind of protect for the wind, and I didn't have enough to do everything because I've really expanded the amount of broccoli that I've put in. These two rows in particular are all broccoli, and then the rest is cabbage and the broccoli. So a lot of stuff. Been watering a little bit today, getting the garlic some water and the onions, and hopefully they're going to be starting to take off here now over this week because the weather's going to moderate. And also been irrigating on the potatoes, so that's been doing good. I did get my hops in, so down here by these two poles I've got hops planted, and that's going to be a little bit of an experiment. We'll see how that goes. So hey everybody, it's 25th of April, and I'm out here in the garden and looking at my plants. So last week we planted all this cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower out here in the gardens, and I also got other things planted over here on the side. Basically got my arugula, kale, and then some snow peas in. So that's all in. We're getting a steady rain today, and that's pretty nice. Notice the pots. So I put these pots around the plants to give them some protection from the wind. It gets really windy out here in northern Illinois, and I'd like the plants to at least have a good chance of surviving to get beat up by the wind pretty badly, because it can be pretty strong. But anyways, I got that taken care of. And then the other thing I'm working on, all that's planted obviously, is the onions, my garlic over here, you can see. So we got the garlic all planted. That's really doing well. I purchased that from a friend that I met on Instagram. And so it's a new variety for me. I had always grown Kettle Giant, and last year it really suffered. We had such a wet spring that I lost a lot of my seed stock, and by the time I had given out my crop to all of my CSA people, I didn't have much left for seed, so replenished the seed with a new variety, and I've got that in the ground now. Over here I've got potatoes. They've been in the ground now for a couple weeks. I didn't do much watering because it was still really cold last week, and I didn't want to get things up above the ground, so I kind of let it sit. But the leeks are also right here, and they're doing well. You can see that. And over here in this plot, this will be the tomato and pepper plot, and eggplant that'll go in here. And you can see that I got winter wheat in here, which is now germinating since we've gotten some rain. So it's starting to pop up, and that'll get covered. We still got about 4 weeks before we'll plant those plants outside, 4 to 5 weeks. And so that's good. We'll get a good green crop of manure on top of here, and then that'll get tilled back in and just replenish the soil, which is a lot about what I'm trying to do here. This plot is going to get mostly squash. Cucumber, squash are going to come in here, and they should do well in this plot for this year. They were over here to the side in this far plot last year, and I'm migrating them over here this year in a rotation. So be plenty of space for squash there. And then down here, I've been working in this plot lately over the last few days, and I've got a series of basically greens and root crops started, and I'll keep continuing this in phases as I go through. So we've got stuff started 2 weeks ago. And here again, I didn't water much. I didn't want a lot of stuff coming up with the cold. And so now it's starting to pop. And then I'll basically come through here and add in series of growth over 2 week periods so that I've got a continuation of greens. So I've never done that, and I'm going to do that this year though. Just 2 days ago I planted some more greens in here. So that's started. And I can see spinach popping. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get it here, but it is in here, right in here. You can see. Right there is spinach. So it's starting to come up in this plot, which is great. Carrots are underneath this burlap. And then you can see radishes here, and then turnips are in this row here coming up. So stuff is moving. And also kind of a cool thing, which is an experiment for me, is over here. My son helped me install these huge telephone poles, which used to be here in the property, and they were taken down. We had new wire service put in, but they're gonna house, or basically support, a hop system. So I've got hops planted. I've got 5 set of rhizomes in here, and I'm gonna string cable up between the poles up here, and we'll get some hops growing, which I'm going to basically donate to a friend who brews, and hopefully we'll get some good beer. So hey everybody, it is April 25th. It's a little view from my garage. A couple of wheel hose that I've restored. Got a planter in the foreground here, and then a cultivator in the back, which I did last weekend. And I'm looking out the garage window at the old barn that's still standing out behind the property. But today's activity is basically to repot much of the plants that I have here, because I still have 4 weeks before these things are going to go out. So you've got your peppers down here, and I've got eggplant and such in there, and then I've got tomatoes here. And I've replanted last week these tomatoes, which are really doing well. My basil's doing well. All my cabbage, basically all the brassicas, which is cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, that's all out in the garden. And I'm filling pots up now and going to get those set up, and then I'm going to be repotting. So that's what I'm doing today. Also, if it gets a little bit of time, I'm going to replace the handles on my old hoe, which I love. Got a new handle for it, and I'm going to replace the handle on this rake, which busted. So get that going. And here's another planter that I have that I'm kind of calibrating right now. So that's it for today. A lot of little things to do. It's a nice rainy day, perfect day to be working in the garage and getting things done. So another thing I'm doing today is restoring my favorite hoe. So look at this handle. And I've got to tell you, this thing is probably 75 years old. So the thing about this hoe, though, is it's really light, but super versatile. I can go around plants really easy with it, picking out weeds, really simple. And I just love it. So I got a new handle for it down here, and I'm going to install it. I want it nice and tight, though. So I took my drill and drilled out the pin, and handle came out. Now I'm just going to get the rest of everything out of the inside here, and then I'll take my handle and install it. So I've got it all apart now. I've got the head, is this end of the hoe. I've got my collet that will go back over it, and only took a few minutes, and now I'm ready to get. So I finished her up, and it's all mounted, perfect, like brand new. Thing's good for another 70 years, that's for darn sure. Because the tines have plenty of wear still, and now I've got a brand new handle.